An important component in the Spiral Learning Project is its overlap with the ArtsBridge America program on the Utah State University campus. ArtsBridge America is a national program of research universities which provides scholarship support to university arts and arts education students. These student scholars design and create hands-on, long-term, integrated, and cross-curricular arts projects. They work with students grades kindergarten through high school. At Utah State University, we began our program in 2007 as a creative means to bridge the gap left by little or no arts in our local schools. Utah State University's secondary art education student, Meg Erekson, has taken the Spiral Learning Project into 2 different 7th grade math classes over 2 years. Both years, her students were low performing in math. In her first year, she saw staggering success in not only tripling some of her students' math scores and bringing all students up to level, but also in motivating her students to learn. Meg Erekson said, "What I have learned from the ArtsBridge project is that the arts help motivate the students to learn the concepts, and the projects give them a place to apply the knowledge and skills they've gained, which in turn helps them retain the learning they receive. Having succeeded once, they have the confidence to apply the information and skills in other ways or on other projects. They begin making connections." In her first year, students use visual arts to reinforce the often challenging concept of exponents. Using the family tree, which they were all familiar with as a model, students created what they dubbed power trees, which showed explicitly and visually how exponents work. Before students created their power trees, they first had to use metric measurements to cut all of the wire. They then created foldable instructions, which included written instructions, drawn examples, and good old-fashioned show your work worksheets. After that, it was time to draw and label their trees, starting with the trunk of the tree, which equals 1, or the base number to the 0 power. Then the creation process began. Finally, it was time for students to take their work on the road, where they were displayed at the Logan Downtown Gallery Walk, open to the public. This gave these math students a chance not only to show off their artistry, but moreover, they had the unique and important platform to teach exponents to Gallery Walk guests, by walking each guest through the process of making one. Meg truly believes that by having the students turn around and teach these concepts, they will never forget them, and the test results tell the story. In year 2, Meg focused her efforts on using art to help illuminate the mysteries of fractions and ratios, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. She began this project with a trip to the art museum and exploring fractions through the mammoth sculpture in the performance hall.
Well, you know, watching them build with the tools that they were given right underneath the artwork, I don't think half of the students even realized how they were actually creating, in a sense, mimicking what they've just seen.
Some have fought this art thing, you know, and associate it with math, but I'm seeing a few of the hard shells starting to break down and, oh, it's cool. Oh, now I see it. Oh, you know, and so it'll be interesting by the end of all this where they really are. It's really been fun.
And many of those students are making connections.
Okay, we really got the idea of putting mirrors and reflections, because in math you have a reflection, a slide, and a transfer. So we have a bridge right there, and we use science, alternate, like in alternate leaves. We used a bridge, like in your brain, you have a bridge going from one side to the left so you can use your whole body.
You know, we only use about 10% of our brain function, and when we make a bridge between our left brain and our right brain, we increase that function and we get smarter kids.
Year 2's final art project is the creation of a classroom mural where students must use ratios of color mixing to create their palette and multiplied fractions to expand the size of their initial design.
Well, we're here to explain ratios and color mixing for a new project we've been working on. It's a big picture of the school and the Wellsville Mountains behind the school. And we all have one piece of it and we draw it. It's a lot easier to learn it when you're not scribbling on a worksheet and stuff.
Part of it, I think, using music has been a huge part of the success that I've seen with the kids. That's what's been really exciting. But also the painting, the mixing the colors, the ratios just finally sunk in for them, and how to create equivalent ratios, fractions to increase their quantity of paint. They got it.
And she has us do songs like adding and subtract fractions. Give yourself a chance, make sure all the fractions are wearing the same pants.
Numerator on the top, denominator on the bottom, breaking units into equal pieces, fractions we got it. Break it down, check the thesis. A fraction is a part of something broken into pieces.
How much did learning these songs really help the students when it came down to test scores?
I only had 2 students that actually aced that test, that pre-test. The rest of them had like 0s, 2s. There were 5 questions. I don't think there was anything above a 2 except those 2 that got them all. But after the post-test, after they had learned the song and gotten it in their heads, I only had 1 that got a 0. The rest of them had 3s, 4s, 5s, mostly 4s and 5s.
One of the overall goals for the Spiral Learning Project is to potentially increase math scores of elementary and secondary learners. The Spiral Learning Project model uses art objects as a springboard for teaching mathematical concepts and encourages replication in other museum and educational settings, pulling on the cultural resources of each community to create their own appropriate teaching modules. So how much of an impact is this program really having on those involved?
It's going to help me get a little bit more creative with my math because I am not a creative teacher.
I think it's the best thing that could happen for every student who comes in here and works with somebody. It's a great privilege. It's going to widen their horizons. They will not have a narrow idea of what art is.
And students will show improvement on their scores because they're actually getting practical application of a concept. It's very applied in what we do, and that makes it the difference for those students.
We have a lot of teachers learning from their students. We have a lot of students learning from different kinds of teachers and teaching environments. We've got teachers learning from other teachers. So we're seeing a great potential for where this can go in the future.
I've found myself looking at art in a whole new way now because I'm looking for the math that might be there.
Even if one student comes out of that with the ability to see how it applies to other parts of their life, that it is a part of life, math makes sense for some reason, not just something you have to gruel through school, then we've accomplished something.
Inevitably, though, we're creating really a whole new generation of thinkers that are going to bring this country into a better place.
There's a fraction on the board right in front of you. The fraction is a half. What you gonna do?
This project is made possible by a grant from the U.S. Institute of Museum and Library Services with generous support from the Catherine C. Wanless Foundation, the Marie Eccles Kane Foundation, and the Nora Eccles Harrison Museum of Art, Utah State University. Additional support provided by the Utah Arts Council, with funding from the state of Utah and the National Endowment for the Arts, which believes a great nation deserves great art.
You'll see the numbers change, but the fraction that's a half will still remain the same.